So the purpose of this segment is every week we're going to break down one point, one big, massive, powerful point from one of these books. All right, I'm going to give you a walkthrough of my entire library and show you how you can implement these things into your daily marketing, into your daily business, into your daily lives to make this substantially easier for you. All right, to give you that ability to implement so you don't have to be like me and spend so many years trying to figure out how to implement it correctly. All right, so a lot of you saw the picture go out yesterday. We had a couple different books in there to choose from, and the one we're going to start with is one of my favorites. It is Contagious by Jonah Berger. All right, Contagious, this is one I recommend to just about every one of my students, and I recommend to most people just to understand how things catch on, why it is certain objects or probably certain pieces of content out there on the internet actually get shared, get liked, commented on, what creates a viral concept, and how you can use that for your business, right? How you can get ahead of that. All right, so what we're going to be going through this one point of the book. So I'm going to do 4 points per month. That way I can walk you through each one of these books. At the end of which, we're going to have 4 action items that you can implement today, just to give you a better understanding of how you can actually use this for your business. Because like I said, the goal is implementation. I want to make this easy to implement because it's all about changing habits, and it's got to be small. All right, they have to be small implementations, because if you try and do giant stuff, big stuff, that's why people quit diets and quit exercise programs and quit massive things, because you can't all of a sudden make a shift. You have to move in baby steps. All right, so what we're going to be looking at today, the first one that I like out of here, we're going to keep this right here. See if we can't stand that thing up without it falling down in the middle of this live cast. And you'll notice all the green stuff sticking out of the top of this. I read with Post-it notes. So every time I find something interesting, I stick a Post-it note in the book, write myself a little note, and I can always come back to them. This helps me. It's just my trick for helping me stay conscious while I read these books so that I don't just let it go in one ear and out the other. All right, so the big thing we're looking at today is the concept of triggers. All right, triggers, getting people to think about your brand. All right, and what I want to impress upon y'all is one concept: is the studies that have been done about these triggers, about how and why people connect with certain things. It dispels the main concept that most people get hung up on with their business, trying to market their business, that interesting is key. Interesting is key is bullshit. That doesn't exist. All right, there is no unsexy product now. All right, you can market just about anything. If there's a market for plungers, for shake weights, if there's a market for any of these ridiculous products out there, there is a market for your product. It's just a question of making the right associations, forging the right trigger to make people think about your product. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. And I want you to think about this, because the data actually stands to prove this. Answer the question, feel free to hit the chat box below and answer this question. Which one do you think gets more conversation during a given year, during a given 5 years, over the long term? Cheerios or Disneyland? All right, Disneyland is clearly more interesting. Cheerios is not a sexy product. But over time, statistically, Cheerios gets the vast majority of the mentions, gets the vast majority of the conversation, the word of mouth, because it has substantially more triggers. All right, Disneyland, Disney World, whichever one you want to focus on, they don't have enough triggers to get people to think about it, to talk about it. All right, it's a one and done thing. It's a fleeting concept, whereas Cheerios, they can trigger you every single day, if not multiple times throughout the day, to think about their brand. All right, so when we're talking about this, we're talking about word of mouth. We're talking about developing a way for people to talk about your brand. All right, so think about, there's 2 types. We want to think about immediate word of mouth and ongoing word of mouth, and they both have their place. All right, I'm not going to say one is better than the other. Actually, that's a lie. I'm going to say ongoing is substantially better than immediate. But your job is to develop some level of immediate word of mouth, and then move that into ongoing word of mouth. All right, so I'm looking at 3 different examples that I've got listed right here in front of me that I'm going to walk you guys through and show you how they work. One of which is actually going on right now, and you can actually go check on this data and see what I'm talking about. All right, so we're going to go back to these associations, these connections that people make to bring a product into their mind. All right, we're going to go all the way back to 2007, which seems like a very long time ago now. 2007? No, not 2007. 2011. There we go. 2011, to the worst song ever created. Well, possibly one of the worst songs ever created. I'm talking about Friday by Rebecca Black. The worst, No musical talent, absolutely nothing to really write home about the song. The lyrics are god awful, and it's just this terrible freaking song. But if you go back through the search data and figure out how people talk about, share this actual, terrible phenomenon that took place, right, every Friday, sure as just clockwork, every Friday, people started searching for that song online. They started sharing that song again with their friends, and this continued for months and months and months on end. It was never ending, that damn song. And you could bet things started to go up attention started to go up on Thursdays, but as soon as Friday got there, everybody was about that damn song. All right, the connection was incredibly literal. All right, Friday is the name of the song. Friday is the day of the week. Not a difficult concept to connect with. All right, so Friday and Friday was a literal connection, timing that made people connect to that brand. All right, so you can, from your marketing standpoint, you should look to the types of timing that people think about your brand. All right, I'm going to try and not murder a cat over here because you can probably hear him in the background. I've got plenty of things to throw at him from the distance. All right, the other one I want to look at, and this is recent. All right, so at the age of 93, and this took place on December 2nd, is when this actually happened. So December 2nd, just recently, December 2nd, the man who invented General Tso's chicken died. Age 98, he was a very old man, died. All right, and I decided I wanted to poke around in the data a little bit after I saw this. I'm a huge fan of General Tso's chicken. If I could show you my phone right now, I have a picture. On Sunday, 2 days after this man died, I went to go eat General Tso's chicken. I went out on a mission to go find General Tso's chicken. All right, because that concept, that brand, that product was right on the top of my mind. For some reason, I couldn't get rid of it. Clearly, because I'd seen articles about it. All right, so I went back through the data to try and figure this out. And, General Tso's is generally a dinner meal. Chinese food, it's a dinner meal. And there is no dinner day out there like there is a connection with Friday. All right, but if you go back through the data, and you can look on this, you can check on this, go to google.com/trends, and look for General Tso's chicken, and you can find it in there. Is that 5 p.m. for the last, since the man died, since the 2nd, at 5 p.m., searches spike. They nearly double. Actually, they more than double online for people looking for General Tso's chicken. All right, and that is top of the mind, tip of the tongue. All right, that is the concept we're looking for. Here's the connection we're trying to forge. Is because as soon as dinner time rolls around, 5 p.m. rolls around, people start thinking about dinner, and the nearest dinner comes into their head, pops into their minds, General Tso's chicken. All right, so think about that as what the best environment for your product is, and we'll go through this. I've got this all lined up in in the action items themselves. All right, but the last one I want to look at, and this is a great marketing campaign. This goes all the way back to 2007, and actually further back to 1986. All right, we're going to talk about the Kit Kat. Now, everybody's familiar with the Kit Kat. We know that. We know the jingle. It's been listed as one of the top 10 most iconic jingles in history. All right, one of the most 10 iconic earworms as well. They call them earworms because they stick in your head. All right, and this actually outperformed the YMCA. Just to show you how much power they created in that jingle when they actually built that thing, and how much brand equity that's built since 1986. But anybody who's been to a store recently, looked at the candy aisle, looked at the candy at the checkout stand, there's so many different things to choose from that Kit Kat got lost in the mix. So in 2007, they brought on somebody to try and fix this problem. All right, they tried to find a way to create more triggers around the Kit Kat. Build a way to get people more involved with the Kit Kat. All right, and to do this, they looked at expanding the environment. They looked at what triggered it. And the key word in there with Kit Kat is give me a break. A break. So what do people do with their break? They tried to find an association that they could do, they could tie their brand to get people to think about Kit Kats more. All right, and what they found, the best way that they could do this, is they went after the coffee break. All right, people take coffee breaks at any time of the day, any time of the night, and they built their campaign around the concept of Kit Kat and coffee. All right, not only alliteration aside was it a good choice to make because there were a lot of different options out there. All right, but they found something they could tie their brand to, they could tie their product to, all right, that automatically triggered a concept with people. As long as they could build in that alliteration, that association of their product with something people were already doing, it was on the top of their minds. In 2007, all right, right after they brought this on, 6 months after they brought this on, they started seeing a rise in sales. 8% was their rise in sales, all right, because they forged this association and they expanded the territory, the environment that this product lives in. No longer is it an impulse buy in the store, it's something you get at work. It's something you get when you go out to a coffee shop to take a break. It's something you do associated with another product. All right, and they saw a massive rise in sales just due to this really simple, easy to create association they built in with their product. All right, so those are the big examples. That should give you an understanding of how some of these triggers work. We're looking for environmental triggers. We're looking for timing triggers. We're looking for associations. We're looking for anything that we can do to get people to think about our product and do so favorably. All right, so I've got four action items for you, as I said here, and I'm going to put these down in the comments below, so don't worry about taking notes on these. I'll always have some sort of follow-up for you as we do this whole setup here. All right, but I want you, the two goals I want you thinking about with building triggers, all right, is to A, understand your product environment. When do people, where do people, how do people use your product? When, how, and why? All right, where does your product live on that spectrum? All right. Try and find an association in there that you can build outside of the problem as well, because our products are built to solve a specific problem. Now, I'm not saying that all connections are bad. We'll go into that here in just a second. All right, but think about some good connections with your product as well, not just about solving a problem. Think about them improving something that's just existing, something that may not be bad, but is perhaps neutral or decent. All right, so area number one, I want you to determine 3 to 5 moments when your product or service is top of the mind and tip of the tongue. All right, when do people think about your product? We're looking at timing here. When are they thinking about your product, your brand, or your service? So number 2, figure out the mindset in those moments. Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they angry? Are they hungry? How can you speak to those moments? All right, how can you speak to exactly the mindset of your user in those moments? Number 3, should be pretty obvious here. Improve that moment. How can you find a way to improve upon that moment? If it's bad, make it less bad. If it's neutral, make it good. If it's good, make it awesome. Find a way to elevate somebody's status and they will pay you money for it. All right, and number 4, look for associations. What products or services, and again, find 3 to 5 products or services that you can tie your brand, your product, or your service to. All right, find a way to forge another association and you can start to expand the environment that your product lives in. All right, so those are our top 4 action items for triggers from Contagious by Jonah Berger. If you are interested, I'll have a link in here as well. You can find it on Amazon. I found this one, to be quite honest, I would start at Half Price Books. You can find it for probably $5 to $7. Cheap book, it's an easy read, but the information in here is awesome. They've got a lot of great examples of how people have built out triggers and used psychology to make people talk about a brand. So if you find yourself in a place where you think you have an unsexy product, this is for you. This is your book right here. This should be where you start to figure out how to get in the mind of your users and really start to market to them effectively. Find what triggers them, all right, to actually think about your product and think favorably about it.